Chapter 7. After a long first week at the office and picking up a few more clients, I am ready to go out and have fun. I change into the sexiest dress I have, which is a purple plunger sweetheart skater dress. I haven't seen or talked to Ian, and I am planning on forgetting about him tonight. I grab my phone and call a cab to drive me and Abby to the Newport Casino that's about 30 minutes away. When we get to the casino, we go straight to the bar and order a shot of tequila. I quickly down my first shot and order another. "You better slow down, Hollyn. I don't want to be picking your ass up off the floor," I hear Austin say walking up behind me. "What in the hell are you doing here?" He sits on the stool beside me, apparently keeping you from making an ass out of yourself. After the weekend I've had, I suggest you keep your opinions to yourself. I down another shot, then grab Abby by the arm. I pull her around, scanning the room for an open table when I spot a roulette table. I feel reckless tonight, so I put down $200 and I'm given blue chips. I place half of my chips on black 18. The croupier spins the wheel and yells, "No more bets." I watch the wheel as it spins, anticipating for it to stop. I take in a gasp of air when the wheel stops. I watch as the little white balls land in the black 18 slot. I let out a loud squeal and hug Abby, but my excitement is short-lived when I hear a familiar voice. I look around the crowd of people to a table straight ahead. I spot Ian, which makes my heart flutter, but the flutter stops quickly when I see he is with Bess. Immediately his eyes find mine like a magnet and he smiles. He looks so sexy wearing black slacks and a gray button-down shirt. "What the hell is he smiling at?" I say to Abby, annoyed. I decided to get another shot to numb my brain and the feelings that turn my veins to ice from seeing Bess at Ian's side. I turn towards Abby. "Do you want anything to drink?" "No, I'm good, but you look like you need one," she says. "Hollyn, you really need to slow down," Austin says, standing behind Abby. I ignore Austin and walk to the bar. I motion for the bartender and order 3 shots, which he pours lined up in a row. I down all 3 shots one after another. After throwing a $10 bill on the bar, I slide off the bar stool and go down a hallway to the ladies' room. As I approach the door, I overhear 2 women talking around the corner, and one is Bess. "I'm going to have Ian wrapped around my finger before he knows what hits him," I hear Bess say. "Who is that pathetic woman he keeps looking at?" I hear another woman ask. "Oh, that is Hollyn. She is no competition against me. Ian is a stallion, and she's a boring fish. Ian does anything I want," Bess says with a giggle. I push the bathroom door open with force and immediately go into the last stall holding back tears. I pull out my phone and text Abby to tell her what I just overheard and that I'm in the bathroom. After I finish in the bathroom stall, I go to the mirror and brace myself on the sink, trying to get the courage to walk back out there. I inhale a deep breath and let it out slowly. I reapply my lip gloss and take one last look, thinking there's no way a guy like Ian would have any interest in me. After I open up the door, I stick my head out into the hallway to make sure Bess and her friend have left, because I sure as hell don't want to run into her. After I see it is all clear, I walk out into the hallway. I go to the bar to order more numbing medicine. I motion for the bartender to pour me 3 shots of tequila. "Are you sure you want another one, sweetheart?" he says. "Just pour," I say rudely. I'm getting ready to throw back the first shot when I notice a man I recognize sitting across the bar from me, Tyler Gant. He has sandy blonde hair, light blue eyes, a chiseled body, and definitely not bad on the eyes. I haven't seen him since we secretly dated in high school, but I broke up with him before I left for college. "What the hell?" I say to myself, staring at him. I quickly throw back the other 2 shots. I walk over to him, and as I approach him, I start to feel the tequila. He spots me, and his eyes get wide. "Hollyn, wow, you look amazing." He grabs me in an embrace and gives me a light kiss on the cheek. I glance over to where Ian is standing with Bess, and I see that his gaze is focused on me, but he isn't smiling. He has a vacant stare, his hands are at his fist at both of his sides, and his jaw looks to be clenched. I look up and throw Tyler a wide smile. "You don't look bad yourself." He places his hand on my back, which I welcome because it helps keep me from stumbling. "Can I buy you a drink?" he asks as he motions the bartender over. I am about to answer when I smell his scent and feel him standing behind me. No, I don't think she will, Ian says. He looks down at me with dark eyes. I need to talk to you. I don't have anything to say to you. I spit at him. Hey man, she's with me, Tyler says, getting into Ian's face, challenging him. Tyler, I've never had a problem with you, so don't make me have one now. You need to back the fuck off, Ian says, staring at Tyler, gripping his fist tighter. Ian, you need to get back to Bess. I'm sure she will be more than happy to give you what you want. Or shall I say, you will give her what she wants. I scream at him with tears threatening to pour down my face. I don't know where this venom in me has come from. I have never been the jealous type, so either it's the tequila or this jackass of a man has really gotten to me. I turn back towards the bar to get another shot, and Ian walks up behind me. Hollyn, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I pick up the shot glass of tequila and put it into my mouth. Ian grabs it out of my hand and slams it back onto the bar. He leans down, putting his face closer to mine. Even angry, he looks so damn sexy. We can cause a scene, or you can come with me. Either way, we're going to talk. And Hollyn, you are finished drinking. He grabs me by the arm, pulling me to the side exit door that leads into an alley outside. What the hell, Ian? I can't stop thinking about you. Everything I go to do, there you are in my head. He turns toward me, rubbing his hands through his hair. Are you fucking him? My mouth flies open in shock. Who the hell do you think you are? You have no claim to me. I walk closer toward him, putting my face in his this time. Anyway, how is it any of your concern, especially when you were here with that big-mouthed vagina? I mean, everybody knows her as Undress for Bess. Hollyn, Bess is just a friend. She doesn't have any family, so I feel sorry for her. I didn't even know she was going to be here. Anybody can tell that she definitely wants to be more than your friend. I feel the temperature in my body rise either from the liquor or from being so close to Ian. When I saw that man have his hands on you, it made me crazy because I wanted to be my hands on you. His eyes become softer, and I feel his warm, sweet breath in my face. I turn to walk away when he grabs my arm, pulling me up against him. Then he backs me up against the brick wall. He slams his mouth on mine, kissing me with force. He grabs my thigh and lifts it up. I feel the roughness of his hand as he slides it up my dress, cupping my rear. I grab his hair with one hand and put my other hand down the back of his pants. I push him closer into me and let out a moan when I feel his hard cock against me. My clit starts to throb in anticipation, and I feel the wetness in my panties. I place my hands on his chest. Stop, Ian, I say between kisses. He places his forehead against mine, panting in my face. We stare at each other, catching our breath. Ian, if you want a quick fuck, I suggest you go find Bess because I'm not that kind of woman, I say. He leans into my ear, and I feel his breath tickle my neck. I am glad you aren't that kind of woman because it gives me a challenge, but I promise, Hollyn, I will have you. I feel myself fighting inside, my conscience that is telling me I am better than being a one-night stand against my body that is burning with desire for this gorgeous man, making me ache for him to be inside of me. He gives me a smile and grabs my hand. Now that we've settled that, I will walk you back inside. Chapter 8. The next morning, I walk into the kitchen to get some toast and coffee when Abby walks in. You want to go out on the boat today? I ask her. Yeah, I need to work on my tan, Abby says, taking a sip of coffee. I walk into my bedroom and put on my yellow bikini. I grab my beach towel and my beach bag. We drive down to the dock where my parents' boat is docked. The boat is a white Lawson boat that my parents bought a few years ago. I have been driving a boat since I was a little girl, so it was a nice, familiar feeling getting behind the wheel. As I pick up speed, the water sprays my face, and the wind is blowing my hair like it is washing all of the stress and worries away, making me feel at peace. Once I am out far enough, I shut the engine down and lay down my towel to soak in some sun. As I am sitting there, all I can think of is Ian's mouth on mine, and I lick my lips remembering his hands on my body. Abby comes over to lay her towel down beside of me. Are you thinking of Ian? Yes. I can't get him out of my head since last night. He has an effect on me that I really don't know how to handle. It's called being horny, she says with a wide smile. But I've never wanted someone so bad. It's like when you're trying something for the first time and love it instantly. You begin to crave it, and I crave his touch and his smell. She slides her sunglasses down her nose and looks at me like I've totally lost it. Hollyn, you just need to get laid. After laying in the sun for a while, I start to get hungry. I walk to the cooler I'd packed and get bottles of water and some fruit for me and Abby. We are sitting on our towels eating when Abby takes a grape off of her plate and throws it, hitting my arm. I grab it off of the seat I'm sitting on and throw it back at her. She takes another one and throws it, and I shift out of the way, and it lands in the water. I take a grape off my plate and throw it at her, and it lands in her cleavage that is formed from her bikini top. She picks it out and pops it into her mouth, and we both start laughing. After we finish eating, we decide to take a quick dip in the ocean to cool off. After cooling off, it is starting to get close to dinner time, so we decide to head back to the dock to go to my parents' house. I pull myself up out of the water, drying myself with my towel, and go to start the boat, but it won't start. I turn the key again, and it still won't start. What's wrong? Abby says, drying her hair with her towel. I don't know, I say, looking puzzled. I'm looking at the gauges, trying to figure out why it won't start, but I can't find anything wrong. How are you going to get back to the dock? Abby asks. I get my phone to text Austin, but I have no signal. I walk over to a small compartment in the boat where my dad keeps his tools. I walk over to where the engine is and look for the wires and bolts. I really don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm examining the engine when I look over and see a fishing boat and notice the name Haynes on it. I look over at Abby, who has a huge grin on her face. My heart is fluttering in my chest as Ian's boat comes to a stop. When I look up, Ian is looking at me, and he is wearing his ripped work jeans and a white t-shirt. You need help? He asks, looking at the tools scattered on the floor. No, we are fine, I say, not wanting to admit the truth. I don't want him to think I'm some pathetic woman who needs rescued. I wiggle a tube, and it disconnects. Damn it, I say under my breath. When I look up, I watch him take off his shoes and his shirt. I'm thankful for my sun-kissed rosy cheeks because I am blushing, studying his chiseled chest. Ian jumps into the water and swims over to the boat. He climbs on the back of the boat, and I suck in air between my teeth, trying to control my heart rate. His dark hair is slicked back from the water as he rubs his hands through it. The water is flowing down his chest to the V at his pants. He looks so sexy, and I feel myself suddenly needing to cool off in the water again. I think to myself I should have given myself to him in the alley at the casino. I wipe off the beads of sweat that have formed on my forehead with the back of my hand. He looks at me as if he knows what I'm thinking and smiles, walking over to where the engine is. What are you doing? I told you I didn't need any help. I spit at him, not wanting him to think I'm not capable of handling situations myself. He looks down at the engine where the tube had fallen off, and then over at me with a sarcastic smile. You really look like you have handled it. He replaces the tube, tightens some screws, and then he walks over to turn the key, but before he turns it, he looks at me. As I recall, this is the second time I have come to your rescue, and I think you owe me. What do you want? He looks at me with a flirtatious smile. Go to dinner with me? I will have to check my calendar. Abby walks up to me and bumps me in the arm. Fine. Text me, but only if the boat starts. He gives me an ear-to-ear grin and turns the key. The engine immediately starts, and I can't help but become excited. He looks over at the man I saw on the boat the night of the yacht party. Jade, you can take the boat back to the dock. I'm going to take them on in. When we get back to the dock near my parents' house, Ian gets out and ties the boat up, then hands me the keys to the boat. Since you came to my rescue again, the least I can do is give you a ride back to your office, I say. He smiles and walks with me to my car. Abby gets in the back seat, and Ian sits up front beside of me. His scent is so thick in such a closed space, so I put the top down to my convertible so I'm less intoxicated by him. I feel my heart race being so close to him, and I don't want this short drive to his office to end. I pull into the parking lot and come to a stop. Ian gives me an ear-to-ear grin. "I will be texting you for that dinner." "Thanks again," I say before he gets out of the car. I watch him for a few seconds walk away while Abby gets in the passenger seat. "Wow, that was intense," Abby says. "What was?" I ask her as I drive off. "The connection between you and Ian. It was so intense that I felt it, Hollyn." "Believe me, I know," I say, still trying to slow my pulse from being so close to him. I drive to my parents' house for dinner, which really excites Abby. I know she wants to see Austin, even though she won't really admit it. "Abby, it is good to see you again," my mother says, giving Abby a hug as we walk through the front door. "I have the chicken on the grill. Dinner will be ready in about 10 minutes, she says, going back to the kitchen. I run up to my room to take a quick shower. I notice my reflection in the mirror, and I become embarrassed. I notice I have a black smear across my forehead from oil when I wipe the sweat off of it. After my shower, I towel dry my hair and tie it back so it is out of my face. I go to the closet, where I had left some clothes, and throw on a pink cami sundress and put on a pair of white flat sandals. I get a text and look down at my phone. It was Ian. He says, "See you soon for dinner." I respond, "Tonight? I'm at my parents' house." I look at my phone, waiting for his reply, but it never comes. I run down the steps for dinner. When I get to the table, my parents are seated at each end. Abby and Austin are sitting on the right side, and when I look to my left, Ian is sitting across from Austin. Ian looks at me and smiles. He looks like he had cleaned up and is now dressed in jeans and a black t-shirt. I look back at him, confused, and walk over to take the seat beside of him. "Hollyn, this is Ian Haynes," my mom says. "We have ran into each other in town and spoke briefly," Ian says when I don't respond. "Ian came over needing to talk with your father, so I invited him here to stay for dinner," my mother says, looking over at me. Ian leans over to my ear and tickles my neck with the breath from his whisper. "I told you I would see you soon." I look over at my mother, who now has a concerned look on her face. "Ian, how's the fishing going?" my father asks, passing the rolls. "It is going really well, Mr. Jacobs." Ian looks at me with a grin. "Actually, I am working on getting my biggest catch." "It sounds like you're doing really well for yourself," my father says, and then turns his attention to me. "Hollyn, I heard you have your first court case." As I'm about to answer, I feel Ian's hand on my bare leg, rubbing and caressing my inner thigh. "Yes, it is a divorce settlement," is all I manage to say. I start to feel the heat rise into my cheeks. "For Mrs. Duval?" he asks. "Yes, but Dad, I'm not at liberty to discuss it," I say, putting my hand on Ian's to keep him from sliding his hand up my dress any further. "Spoken like a true lawyer," my mom says with a beaming smile. Abby looks over at me and sees the distress on my face. "Mrs. Jacob, this is the best chicken I've ever had." My mother loves the attention, so she smiles at Abby and starts giving her the recipe. I know my cheeks are turning red from the heat that is starting to radiate through my body. I look over at my mother, hoping she isn't looking at me, but she is. "Hollyn, are you feeling okay?" she asks. "Yes, why?" I ask, knowing what she is going to say. "Your cheeks look a little red. You aren't running a fever, are you?" "No, I probably just got too much sun today." Ian's hand is suddenly gone. He is such a tease, and he knows exactly what buttons to push. After dinner, I grab a glass of wine, trying to put the fire out in my body. I walk out on the deck and feel him walk up behind me. "Did you enjoy your dinner?" I ask him, smiling. "It was delicious," he says, sitting down in the chair beside of me. "You had all this planned out, didn't you?" "Actually, I didn't know you were going to be here. I came to talk to your father about hiring him for work I need done at the dock." "I am glad you came," I say, taking a sip of my wine. Ian stands towering over me. He takes my wine glass out of my hand and sits it on a side table. He grabs my hand, pulling me up out of the chair. "Take a walk with me." We walk down a little lit-up path to the bay from the backyard. When we come to a large rock, we sit down, watching the ferries and boats light up on the water. "Did you like living in Wisconsin?" I ask. "It was okay, but I like living here better," he says, looking over at me. A breeze hits my skin, sending a chill through my body. Ian notices, and he puts his arm around me, pulling me close to him. The warmth of his body takes away the chill, and I lay my head on his shoulder, not wanting to move. I want to know more about him. "Are your parents still living in Wisconsin?" I ask. I notice a crease from between his eyes. "I don't talk to them," he says. "Why?" I ask, wondering what happened causing him to cut his parents out of his life. "I don't like to talk about my past, Hollyn," he says, getting up and looking up at the stars. I suddenly feel the chill again from the absence of his body. I don't push any more questions because there are things in my past that I particularly don't want to talk about. Ian sits back down on the rock and looks at me. "I remember in high school you were always reading or on a computer," he says with a smile. I look at him, intrigued that he even noticed me in school. "I remember watching you study in the library and thinking how sexy it was, the way you would constantly lick your top lip when you were concentrating on something," he says with a smile, growing wider. "You watched me study? I didn't think you even noticed me, especially since you had a different girl on you every day," I say, shocked. "I noticed you, but soon after that I moved," he says, turning towards me. "Did you always plan to come back to Rhode Island after college?" he asks, moving to where he is in front of me. "Yes, I never pictured myself anywhere else," I say, looking up at him. He leans into me, so I feel his breath on my face, and he says, "I'm glad you came back." "Me too," I say, smiling. He pulls my face to his and places a sweet, soft kiss on my lips. I look into his eyes, and I can't believe I am here in this moment with him. My body shivers from the cool night breeze. "Come on, we should head back," he says, taking my hand. He puts his arm around me, shielding me as we walk back up to the house. When we get back to the deck, Ian gives me a kiss on my cheek. "I have to work in the morning, so I better get home," he says. Ian thanks my mother for dinner and has a short discussion with my father about a date when he can give an estimate on the job Ian needs him to do. I watch him leave, and when the front door shuts, I suddenly feel an emptiness I had never felt before. Chapter 9. The next evening, I'm going through boxes, trying to find my old yearbook that had a picture of Ian in it, when I get a text. It's from Ian. "Get dressed. Be there in 20 minutes to pick you up." 20 minutes, I think to myself. I walk to my mirror and look at my reflection, letting out a loud breath. I look horrible. I decide to tell him I have plans, so I don't look like I'm available whenever he wants. I pick up my phone to text him back, and my mouth flies open reading the text I just sent. It says, "See you soon." I feel butterflies in my stomach at the thought of seeing Ian again. I look in my closet, trying to figure out what to put on because he didn't exactly say where we were going. I decide on my blue jean skirt because I love how it makes my legs look longer, and take a black strappy halter top off the hanger. I walk to the bathroom and take the pins out that were holding my hair up, letting it flow down my back. I put my makeup on with a smoky eye and Russian red lipstick. Then I hear the doorbell ring. I open the door, and Ian is standing there looking sexy, wearing jeans, a tight black t-shirt that shows his cut muscles underneath, with a black leather jacket. "Take a ride with me," he says with a smile. He grabs my hand and walks me out of the apartment to the street. Abby isn't home, so I'm looking down, texting her to tell her I'm going out with Ian, when he hands me a helmet. I look down at the helmet confused, and then I spot a jet black and chrome crotch rocket. I look up at him, and he has a wide smile. "You expect me to get on that? I'm in a skirt," I say, turning my eyebrows up at him. "You will be fine," he says with a grin. I put the helmet on and reluctantly climb on behind Ian. I wrap my arms around him, and he gives me a reassuring smile while starting the bike. "Oh shit!" I scream with a giggle as he speeds out of the parking lot and makes the first sharp turn. The vibration of the bike is tickling me between my thighs, making me tense with pleasure. When we stop at the stoplight, the loss of sensation makes my body crave it more. The light turns green, sending the sensation back between my thighs, going down open road, and he picks up the speed. I squeeze myself tighter to his body so my breasts and hard nipples are flush with his back, and I inhale his amazing scent. Between the heightened arousal of being so close to Ian and the vibrations of the crotch rocket under my skirt, I am on the verge of orgasm. My body starts to twitch, and I can't control it any longer. "Fuck me," I yell as we pull up to a lighthouse. Ian takes off his helmet, and I see a grin from ear to ear. "Did you enjoy that, Miss Jacobs?" I know I am 6 shades of red. "It wasn't that bad," I say, mortified. He helps me off the bike and takes my helmet off, while tucking a stray strand of hair behind my ear. I am looking up at him, thinking of the things he does to me, and then he grabs my hand and leads me into the lighthouse. We walk up a circular staircase, which seems to go on forever until we reach the catwalk to the top. "Wow, this is breathtaking," I say, looking out at the ocean. "Do you come up here often?" Ian smiles. "Only after a beautiful woman comes all over my motorcycle." He laughs, and I look at him, rolling my eyes. Ian comes up behind me, pressing my back firmly against his chest. He places his arms around my waist. With his breath flowing by my ears, he says, "When I need to be alone or think, I come up here. It helps me clear my head." I look around, understanding what Ian is saying because it is so peaceful up here. "I bet you bring all of your women up here." "You're the only woman I have brought up here." "Not even Bess?" I cringe at just saying her name. "No, only you," he says, kissing my bare shoulder. "Hollyn, I want to get to know you in every way possible. I want to know how your body reacts to me when I slide into you. I want to know how your body moves with mine, and I want to hear you scream when I make you come." He slowly moves his hands up my stomach, caressing my breast, and my breathing picks up. But this time, my body wins over my conscience, and I don't stop him. He unties my top from around my neck and pulls it up over my head. He moves my hair so it lays over my shoulder and places soft kisses down the back of my neck. With every kiss, I feel the whisper of his breath sending flutters to my stomach. He slides his hands down my body to my skirt. He unzips it, pulling it down to my ankles, and I step out of it. I am standing there in my purple and black lace lingerie, shaking with nerves. He nips at my earlobe, then whispers in my ear, "You are so fucking beautiful. You took my breath away the first day I saw you, and I don't think I've taken a breath since until now." I turn around and grab his hair, pulling him into my mouth. His tongue enters my mouth, and it's like a jolt of electricity that travels down my body to my wet clit, which causes me to moan. I slip off his jacket and then pull his shirt over his head. I take my right hand and slowly rub my fingers down the center of his chest, noticing a faint jagged scar over his heart that I hadn't noticed before. I glide my hand down to a small patch of hair right underneath his navel. I move my hand back up to his scar, gently rubbing it when he jerks. He grabs me by my waist, picking me up, and I wrap my legs around him. He slams me against the wall of the lighthouse, violently thrashing his tongue into my mouth. He places me back on my feet, unclasping my bra. He hooks his thumb under each side of my panties and slowly slides them off. He goes to his knees, placing my right leg over his shoulder. He looks up at me, and with his tongue, he gently licks up and down my clit. I close my eyes and brace myself up against the wall. "You taste so sweet, Hollyn," he says, taking his tongue away, leaving me wanting his mouth back on me. I grab his hair, and this time, it is not a dream. He is real. He places a thumb on my clit, making circular motions. He then slides a finger inside of me easily. "Oh God, Ian," I moan. He continues to glide his finger in and out of me while sucking my clit. My legs start to shake and my body convulses, making me orgasm. Ian stands up and I go to my knees. I unbutton his pants, pulling them down along with his boxers springing free his hard length. I lick at the tip, circling my tongue. I run my tongue up and down his length slowly. When I reach the tip again, I take his cock in my mouth. I wrap my lips around it, sliding it in and out of my mouth. I stroke his cock with my hand, wrapping my tongue, moving it up and down. He arcs his back, which causes his cock to go deeper down my throat. "Oh, fuck," he moans. I start to move faster, causing him to go deeper in my mouth. "Fuck, Hollyn," he screams, and with one final stroke of my mouth, he squirts cum down my throat as I swallow. He pulls me back up and slides his fingers over my clit. "You are so wet for me," he says, taking both of my breasts in his hands, caressing them. He places my left nipple in his mouth. He sucks on it until it reaches a peak, and then I feel him take my other nipple into his mouth. He faces toward the rail of the catwalk. "Hold on to the rail," he growls. I grip the rail. He places his hands on my hips, pulling my ass toward him. I feel him slide inside of me, and I moan from the sudden fullness, and it feels so good. He moves his hips, slowly making my body ache for him to go faster. "Are you okay?" he asks. But all I manage to do is shake my head. He moves his hips faster, and then reaches around, rubbing my clit. I can feel the beads of sweat slowly roll down my back in anticipation of an orgasm. He bends over, pulling my face back toward him. He kisses me and moves his hips faster, which causes my undoing. My orgasm crashes through me with the rhythm of the waves crashing into the rocks below, which causes his release. He grabs my hips and yells, "Fuck!" We stay like that, being lost in each other for a few minutes as he lays light kisses down my neck and back. He slides out of me and hands me my clothes. I put them on as he is putting his clothes on, and I see a crease form between his eyes. "Did I do something wrong?" I ask, putting my hand on his cheek. He grabs my hand, moving it off of his cheek. "Come on, I will take you home." I feel tears filling my eyes, but I'm trying to hold them back. I don't want him to see me cry, but my heart is splitting, thinking that I just got used and thinking how stupid I was, allowing him to make me vulnerable. After we drive up to my apartment building, Ian helps me off of his bike. He looks at me, but the only thing he says is that he will see me later. I walk to the entrance and hear the bike's engine. I watch him leave until he's out of my view, thinking that will probably be the last time I see him.